Welcome to the Think Small podcast, hypergrowth for small businesses. So, what's slowing you down?
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Offshore Diaries. I'm Melissa, your host for today. And with me is Sammy Aim, General Manager of Archer Solutions. I'm currently in their office here in Dasmariñas, and it is a rainy Wednesday evening. A typical day here.
Yeah. Medyo maulan lately, and it's just what we have to deal with.
Yeah, behind us is their team of virtual assistants at work. So kindly describe our background. What's going on here?
They're all VAs. Most of them are. We have them working on site, and unlike the typical VA impression and VA setups, na working from home, working remotely, parang virtual assistant, they're supposed to be working far away and at home. We have them work on site instead.
Yeah, so this is actually going to be the focus of our episode today. It's like a sneak peek into what it's like inside a VA agency. I know a lot of people are familiar with VAs that work independently from home or those like the typical office setup. And this is kind of like a hybrid. And we're going to look into the strengths of why this helps VAs perform their work better. So, but with me today, Sammy isn't the VA. He's actually the general manager, and we got to talk a bit before this episode started recording. You mentioned that you were here when this entire office was being built from scratch, and you played a crucial role in setting the foundation in terms of employee handbooks, standard operating procedures. So, tell me how that was like.
Process is really important. Um, I had some BPO experience myself, and being an entrepreneur myself, I know that the key is systems and processes. I was part of the OG VAs of Gene, our CEO, before Archers having their VAs on site. We were all working remotely in our own homes. And back then, it's just run and gun, right? You get given a task, you do it. But here, it's an office. It needs to be compliant to a lot of stuff, and the things that we do needs to be repeatable. Kasi compared to being part of the OG team, we're like not even more than 10.
Not more than 10. You guys started out as like a group of less than 10 people working from your own homes, right?
Working as Gene's executive assistant. It was me who's kind of like his multimedia guy. So graphic design, video editing, social media, that's me. We have other people who are just doing calling, or have other people who are just doing lead generation. And some are in Cavite, some are in Zambales, some are in Metro Manila. So we're kind of just doing all our own things.
The typical remote
The
team,
typical
right?
remote team. But having us put together here and expecting and having a vision of serving and helping 1,000 business owners, it needs to be repeatable. Something that we can depend on even without us managers and executives. And I think that's what's happening now. We started 2 years ago, and right now we're at, I think, 110, 120 employees.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you mentioned something about like working remotely before from like the typical remote group. So can you kind of like describe what the difference was like when everyone was like meeting on Google Meet or Zoom perhaps, and now having everyone together in an office? Like, what's the difference?
Not much. I would say, I mean, medyo may bias kasi I'm really, really introverted and low social. So working remotely kind of works in my favor. But not much in terms of the team is there. If you hire the right people, you won't really worry about remote working remotely nightmares, like not them not replying right away, right? When we were and when it was just us, that wasn't really an issue. Yeah, it was just us, right? And we're all really, really close. And when we send a message, we get a reply right away. So communication wasn't even an issue. I guess the main difference is it's more physically tiring.
Okay, physically tiring.
Yeah.
Yung hindi kayo nagkikita in person. In what sense?
No, it's physically tiring when you're working on site.
When you're working on site. Okay.
As someone who's low social myself, you're kind of, especially in this size of a company now, you're obliged to socialize, especially being a general manager where you touch base with pretty much all of the departments, from the operations to the training to the recruitment to the sales. Everyone, every manager reports to me. I am obliged to socialize, so it's also physically tiring for me compared to just reading their emails or just uh, reading their reports via text messages, right? It's much more physically demanding for me personally.
That's something I can relate to as well, like as an introvert. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers chose the VA lifestyle because they prefer to stay at home. They prefer yung mga piling social interactions lang. But I'm sure the sacrifices you make and everyone else makes to go to the office, to be here right now sa Archers, it comes with certain benefits, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah, so tell me about the benefits of like working on site, of being here together in an office.
To some extent, I still need to socialize.
Yes, we definitely do, to stay sharp.
Yeah, to stay sharp. And to me, personally, the benefit is, initially it's duty for me because it's also my mom's company. But at the same time, I also believe in their vision, my mom and Jean's vision. They have this vision of creating the best working environment, the best VA company. And I personally believe in that. And to me, the benefit is I get to work with amazing people. I'm really involved in recruitment. And I also get to hire amazing people. So not only do I get to work with Jean and my mom, who are amazing leaders, I also get to have that standard when hiring our VAs and when growing this company. I really enjoy that. I really, really enjoy that part of this company.
Okay, so tell me more about the recruitment process. Is there a part of it that's online and a part of that's in person?
Most of it is online. Most of it is online. We don't hire anyone.
Okay.
The ratio is, as far as I know, I haven't been involved lately. We get about 800 to 1,000 resumes
Wow, that's a lot.
and about 100 passes initially. And they get filtered even more through the initial interview. And about 25 passes the initial interviewer. And either I will do the final interview, or our operations manager or the training manager will do the final interview. And only about 10-15 will pass. And then only about half of them will come and work to the office. So from 1,000 resumes to 5 to 7 people, we don't hire anyone. In fact, whenever there's a new batch of VAs, I always tell them that those same numbers, and the fact that you guys are here is an achievement in itself, because we just don't hire anyone.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Like that's quite a feat. And this is a room full of people.
Yes.
So like we
I
have
think we have about 40 people in the floor right now.
I wonder how it feels like to see people you've read their resumes, you nasubaybayan mo yung training process, na now you get to see them work in person. You get to supervise them.
Yes, it almost feels like raising children in a way. Kasi, yeah, like you've mentioned, I would see them from just resumes, just words in their resumes, just 2x2 pictures in their resumes, right? And then they come here, and a lot of them are really, they become even greater when they come here. Some of them, like Shane, for example, was originally hired as a virtual assistant, but now she's executive assistant to Jean, right? You see them grow in terms of their skills and their capabilities, but also as a person.
That's amazing to also have that kind of connection to the people you're working with. Na they're not just random pixels, and there's I can imagine there's this level of accountability kasi kilala nyo yung isa't isa. So hindi mo basta-basta just end call, or you just like ignore this message, because you know like every action you have like has a consequence on the people you work with, on your teammates, on your clients. That's
because
pretty
we
cool.
have to. No,
Yeah.
we have to. For this to work out, we really need to care about them. The goal is to help 1,000 business owners, and indirectly, if we care about our employees, they perform better, and they will perform better for their clients, and that's ultimately the goal. And I like to always go back to this quote that I highly disagree with. Um, it goes something like, "The people who know how will always work for the people who know why." Kind of like the people who know the work will work for the people who has the vision, the stuff. But for me, it's if you want to be a good employee, know the how, right? If you want to be a good boss, know the why. But if you want to be a good leader, know both, right? Both the hows and the whys. And I think that's a really great thing that we have. Virginia, me, our team leads, our managers, most of them come from BPO and VA backgrounds.
So they really started from the ground up as well themselves. They really know the past.
The leaders that we have that are supervising the VAs for our clients aren't just there for the sake of, they know the work themselves. And I think that's a really great thing because we always tell our clients whenever we're talking to them or whenever we're trying to sell them VAs, they work on site. And one of the implications there is they get supervised and managed. And these managers are also great. They also have VA backgrounds, BPO experience. They're not just anyone. And I think that's one of the great things that we do here as well.
Oh, let's talk about that for a while. Like the whole concept of working together in an office and asking questions and learning. Here is like this really awesome green spinning chair, which I've been enjoy sitting on. And they did something really cool behind the scenes. So like I saw Shane like tap a VA, and then she just turned around and tapped, and I like asked a question, and the first thing that came to mind, like, wow, that's so convenient to be able to have your teammate just like an arm's reach away and just like ask a question or ask help for a task. So for our listeners who don't know how the client VA distribution works, the people seated next to each other, do they all work for the same client, or how is this office setup arranged?
Um, Usually it's one client, one VA. But lately we're having setups where it's just one company and a lot of VAs are working for the same company. I think someone needs to walk by. It's okay. um, yeah, I was saying, for example, the person who walked by, um, they have like 5, 6 people in their team working for the same client or company. Right? We have another client who does advertising in magazines, and they're kind of like franchises from different territories, like different towns, New Jersey and somewhere in other side of America. And we have like 3 to 4 VAs assigned to them, and they all sit together.
They all sit
They
together,
all sit
right?
together, and we have another who is a business coach, and he offers VAs to his coaching clients, and all the VAs under him, they all sit together in the same table. And it's very, very collaborative. And it even goes beyond that, the collaboration. Even if you're not in the same client or team, it's still very collaborative. Because you're in the same floor anyway, right? Might as well. That's what I tell the clients that we onboard, that if you have a client, I mean a VA from us, not only do you get a VA, but really you get an access to the entire floor. Let's say you you originally didn't intend to have your VA do design, for example, and then just for a very, very occasional thing, you needed the VA to design. And let's say the VA that's not really his or her thing, but most of them are trained in design anyway. I trained them myself. Yeah. And they can just tap someone who specializes in design, and the people they will tap would be happy to help them. It's just the culture we were able to cultivate here, the very collaborative culture. And I think a lot of the clients enjoy that, and a lot of the VAs as well.
Yeah, I can imagine it's super cool. The Archers team looks really diverse, and it would be really cool. Like if you don't know something, instead mag YouTube University, just ask an expert who's just like next door and arm's reach away. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of asking for help, like as a general manager, what questions do you get often? What concerns do you have to help the most with? Off the top of your mind, it can be something silly, it can be something serious.
My personal, because I'm kind of half in the executives.
Yeah.
Right? And Jean would deal with a lot of sales and executive decisions. My mom, our COO, would deal with a lot of the finances, admin stuff, and I would deal with most of the growth part of the companies. Yep. So sales, recruitment, and marketing and training. So things that would contribute to the physical growth of the company, I would focus on. So a lot of the people who report to me would ask help from those things. Um, I'm the type of leader who's would not put someone in my team that I don't trust. So I don't really get a lot of people asking for help, but the people in my team are kind of like, I would just give them a goal, the vision, and they can figure it out themselves. And sometimes they would just need some realignment and like, Sammy, I'm stuck here,
Okay.
what are we doing next?
Okay.
And I would just tell them, well, we redirect, we go this way then, and then I can leave them again for 2 to 3 weeks without bothering them, and they would do fine. They're amazing.
Is that for like a task thing, or is it more like, oh, I feel stuck with my client right now. I don't really. Is it
It's
that kind?
both.
It's
It's
both.
both. It's
Okay.
both. We have operations managers and team leads who would deal with the VA stuff. And they would do the same thing. These VAs are how my mom or COO would explain it, autopilot. Um, I mean, we hire for VAs who can do that anyway. And you really don't have to be that managing on them. They can do it on their own. They can figure it out on their own, as they should. But again, just in case they need help, the team leads are there, the operations managers are there. Even Jean, my mom, our COO, and me are always available for help. Like I have a lot of background in design and videography and video editing. Even if I'm the general manager, right? Because usually there's a chain of command, right? If a VA needs help with something, you would go to a co-league, or and if it needs to be raised to their team lead or their over. We don't do that here. If you need help with video editing, and if you know only I can help you with that, you can go directly to me. That's the culture here.
Okay. Speaking of culture, like, how would you describe the work culture here? Are there like particular principles or like core values you guys like say? Oh, archers talaga. This is what we stand by. You mentioned collaboration, so I
Yeah.
guess that's one.
That's one. It's gonna be really hard to describe our culture without mentioning other workplaces' culture, which are really, really bad. Again, we have a goal of being different in a good way, not just with our clients, but also with our employees. It's a very chill culture, not gonna lie.
Okay.
Chill to the point of there's freedom, but also considering, the feeling when you have freedom, but it's also really competitive.
Yes. Yes. For
There's
sure.
that kind of thing going on here. Everyone's VA, they have that freedom to decide on their own, because that's what they should do as VAs. And they're really, really competitive as well. I remember hiring someone who I originally hired because he has a background in video editing and graphic design and some other admin tasks. And later on, he became certified in QuickBooks. He became a bookkeeper. Like, what are you doing? That's not what I hired you for. It's just like that. They see other people who are great and they get inspired and they work on themselves and they get certifications. They get better clients. They get better paid. And that's what our clients get as well.
I really love how you share that. Share ko lang din. A lot of the people I know in the VA industry, parang pumasok sila or they believe that they can learn something, they can do something kasi they've seen people they know na parang, uy, kaya nila or kaya mo pala mag-cold calling, parang matry nga. Actually, I have this roommate, she watched me do cold calling and she's like, parang kaya ko din to. Tapos sabi ko, sige nga, try mo. And then, she really did resign the month after and got a full-time VA job being an appointment setter and doing sales. So, I can imagine how it really helps people's morale and innate competitiveness, like in a good way, to see people around them, their peers na, uy, kasabay ko to pumasok, pero this person is learning this now, and like, I want to do this too. Like, I think one of the struggles by being a VA, especially if you're working alone and you're working from home, is that it's just you. And there's this tendency to fall into this, okay, comfortable ako, kumikita ako ng ganitong amount, this is my routine. And then you kind of, you just stay where you are. You kind of,
Be complacent.
yeah, complacent, that's true. And yeah, so I think this is a great environment.
Yeah. I mean, it's not easy to grow, especially when you're alone. Like, iron sharpens iron, you know. Our VAs here get supervised, they get trained, they get inspired. You know, it's not easy to be a VA, right? It's not easy. And like the skills they have aren't, you know, basta basta or some joke, right? Cold calling. Oh my goodness, it's what I will never do.
It's a rite of passage for many people.
Yes. It's so difficult, right? And imagine inspiring someone to do it. Like,
Yes.
it's what happens here as well. Yeah.
I can imagine for roles that involve a lot of rejection or that require a lot of like speaking and uncertainty, it really helps to have someone behind who smiles at you and like, oh, good job, kaya mo yan, or okay lang yan, or like who celebrates your wins with you, right? Because that's important too. As someone in your role who has met a lot of VAs, and like, what are your thoughts about the VA industry in the Philippines? Are there things about it that you think should be improved, or where do you see this heading?
The VA industry really exploded during the pandemic,
Yeah, for sure.
and I think it just so happened that people are at home. That's why they're all working remotely. I love working remotely myself, but both ends, clients and VAs, it works way much better if the VA is working in an office, supervised with a team, with their colleagues. It just works way better.
Okay.
On the client's end, since our virtual assistants are officially employed in a real registered company, they're more committed, right? So the problems of VAs ghosting them isn't gonna happen as much. It's way less. It's super mitigated if the VAs are committed, right? And on the VA's end, you get to hang out with people like you, right? I remember whenever I interview people, I would literally ask them, you have the experience, you have the skills, you have the personality to work freelance. Why apply here?
Yeah. Why join a VA
And
agency?
they would say, I'm so tired of being alone. I miss working in an office. I miss having friends. They would literally say that. And I think it's a common thing now that they would say, because I would ask the same questions. I would really ask that. They can work freelance, but yet they still choose to work in an office like ours. And that's something that VAs should consider and that clients should consider. The VA should consider working in an office like us, and the clients should highly consider only hiring VAs working in an office like ours.
Paolo and I also had, like Paolo, the other podcast host, we had this conversation before as well. Just because, for example, if you're a VA, you're professional at this certain kind of skill, that doesn't mean you're good at marketing and juggling clients for this kind of skill. It's very different to be a video editor and like to be a freelance video editor. You also have to handle the admin side of things. And if you're doing it properly, for example, you should pay your taxes. You should also do bookkeeping. You should also have like a growth plan. Also have to market yourself. All of that is like this mental load plus the uncertainty of, oh no, am I going to lose my client? Or am I pricing things right? Or what happens if that happens? like the admin side of being a freelancer, that's quite heavy, and a lot of people are shocked when they have to face that. So
A lot of the VAs we have right now come from that very same reason. Because if you're a freelancer and you're not compliant, you're not paying taxes and everything else, you can't really get loans, for example. You won't get approved in your home credit if you want to get a phone, right? And that's the very huge advantage on the VA's side of the thing, where if you're employed, you're better, you can walk better in the society, you know. You can get loans, you can easily
visa.
the visa, yeah, the visa. Like if you're not employed and they knew that nalaman nila yun in the immigration. Oh my goodness, like how are you gonna get back? What are you gonna do there? It's all trouble if you're not officially employed, and that's one of the kind of a selling point when we're recruiting. I say when we're recruiting, it's not just the applicant looking for a job, but also us looking for an amazing VA. So that's one of the things we sell to them. Like, it's a job. You're employed, your taxes are paid, you get benefits like an employee, right? While getting the good things of being a VA as well, right?
That's pretty cool. And also, I noticed Archers has a relatively young workforce. What can you say about that? Like,
Well, to be a VA, you need to be um techie, savvy, yes. And it just so happened that the techiest, savviest generation is people around our age, people in their 20s. And I don't think it's an age issue. We have employees who are in their 30s, sometimes in their 40s, and they're doing fine, sometimes amazing. So, Uh, another thing is English communication skills. It just so happened that the exposure to social media and Western media gave people our generation a huge advantage. Uh, for example, I not to brag, but I think I have great communication skills, especially in English. I think, so, and I get that. I got that from watching a lot of American movies, or American series, and I think that's the same with a lot of our VAs right now, people my age.
so do the VAs here, do they get to interact with the clients directly? And what's the demographic of the clients of Archers? In terms of ethnicity, in terms of age, what are they like?
Sure. So yes, the VAs interact directly with their clients, and I think that's very crucial. It's not like we hire a VA and there's a intermediate manager to manage it. No, we let them interact with each other, and that's really important because um, to answer your next question, most of our clients are small to medium sized businesses. Most of the time, solopreneurs like law firms, doctors, for example, business coaches. Most of them are solopreneurs, and it's really essential that they get to interact directly because a lot of the times they will depend on their VAs to decide on their behalf. And if they don't interact um, directly with each other, alignment won't be there. Imagine me, for example, I have a supervisor who talks in behalf of me to Jean and my mom while me managing the company. It just won't work because both of them are usually not in the office because they're executives, they own the business, right? And I'm like they're someone in command in the field, on the ground, right? And I really need to interact with them directly for me to align my decisions, even without talking to them. And it's the same with the VAs. The demographic of the businesses we're working with are, again, solopreneurs. And if they're not working, communicating with them directly, it's not going to work out. Their relationship won't work out. And we encourage it.
Because you guys have a lot of VAs and a lot of different clients, and it's impossible for you to know
It's
the needs of
impossible.
every
That's
single
true.
client,
It's
right? So you,
impossible.
at some point, you have to trust the VA that they know what they're doing, they're communicating with the client, and you're just there to troubleshoot. That's an incredible amount of responsibility, and at the same time, skill and confidence that the VAs, and it's pretty impressive that this young group of people, they're getting this kind of mentorship and training. Um, yeah, so That's it on my end. This was a wonderful interview. Thank you so much for giving us an insider's look of how Archers operates. And naiingit ako, pwede ba ako magdala ng laptop dito?
Why not?
Like, just makikigulo lang ako from time to time. If like I'm tired working from my bedroom, I'll just hang out here in Las Marinas.
Why not? Yeah. Thanks for having me here at Offshore Diaries.
Thanks, Sammy.
Welcome to the Think Small podcast, hypergrowth for small businesses. So, what's slowing you down?